live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph.
Good afternoon again. It's Wednesday Alive and Connections 50 Plus people, welcome to the Caribbean, welcome to all our Facebook friends, welcome to our Gaia audience. I am, as usual, Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, co-creator also of Connections 50 Plus. And again, welcome to you this evening.
Yes, so now for the past couple of weeks, when we've had our guests, you would have been looking at the people down on the bottom there and saying, who is that person? Who is that? And everybody said, oh my God, they've got that person because you know him. Okay, yes, you know him. So our guest today is Gregory McGuire, CEO of I'll give the name of the company, right? Feeling Nice Beverages. And I prefer to focus on Feeling Nice Beverages because Feeling Nice Beverages is the producer, manufacturer, creator of Makay's Rum Cream, which has recently been awarded the gold medal at the Spirit International Prestige Awards. So Gregory, we have true big shots now, real royalty, important people on our connection stage. Welcome, Gregory. So say hello to our audience.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, Terri-Ann. Good evening, Jennifer. Thank you all so very much for having me on your show. It is indeed an honor to be here with you. This is a piece of innovation that I admire quite a lot. And so,
Okay.
it's really honored to be here to share this stage with you.
Great. So for today, Jennifer.
Yes, Gregory. Yeah.
So just to set it up, you would have seen on Monday that we launched our reset program again. And you all would know by now that in our reset program, we are saying to our 5.8G, listen, we have to get ready for the third act stage. And Connections would always find best practice and good examples for you to follow. So today's show is about a reset story, a 5.8G reset story. And we really, Jennifer and I we've known Gregory and we've been following him through his career for a very long time. And we think this is a perfect reset story. So we are going to really get into and discuss with Gregory how this whole thing happened. So we're getting into his business and you all go ahead and ask your questions. It's pre-recorded, but if you ask questions that you really want answered, Gregory, I'm sure will be on board and welcome to answer them for you. So we'll start our discussion.
Gregory, let me start. And again, for our viewers, you know, we deal with three aspects of the 50 plus. So we look at the economic aspect, we look at the social aspect, we look at the self-care. So we are chatting with you at the economic aspect, I would say. Tell me, Gregory, how did you approach, you know, being in the third act stage in terms from your retirement, switching from where you were in that capacity to something completely new?
All right, let me find the simplest answer for you. The simplest answer for you is that really is drawing from the words of my former principal at St. Benedict's College. So I met, and this is Edwin Keynes, I met Edwin Keynes maybe about 10 years after he had retired. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, how is retirement? And he said to me, why do you ask that? And I said, well, taken aback by his response. So I was dumbstruck for a moment. And he said, listen, man, I never had a problem with retirement. And I want you to learn something. You see, because he was always the principal. So he said to his boys, which is how he called us in college, he said to me, you must never retire from. You need to always retire to.
Yes.
Those things stuck with me. So that retirement was just another day for me. I had long known what I was going to do. I just simply stepped off one train and jumped on the other. I had no illusions about going home to put up your 2 feet and let your toenails grow. You know, I had no such dreams. I retired too. And Makay's rum cream was born inside of that process.
Gregory, so I love that. Not from, retired to.
That's right.
And you entering into that field, was there a history of entrepreneurship within your family to encourage you to go to, entrepreneurship?
No, I don't think there was. But I think I was very clear when I looked around the world and I looked around people that owning a business and running a business was something that I needed to do.
Okay.
The other important point from me and from my own background was that as an economist, you hear my colleagues speaking a lot about the whole question of the importance of micro, small, and medium enterprises. And you hear a lot about the ease of doing business and people pontificating around what are the magical solutions to address the diversification problem. So in part, what part of my understanding was, part of what drove me was that I felt that here was an opportunity to discover by actually going out there and putting stuff into practice and seeing what turns out, and really beginning to understand the challenges faced by the general public, by people who not from my background and in this business of running a business and running a micro enterprise at that. And how do you grow that enterprise and so on. So that was where the passion came from.
Ah.
No, that is a very, and that is still one of my passions also. In fact, I kind of don't like the term small and micro enterprises. I don't like the small because there's so much capacity for all the things that drive the economic engine, whether it's employment, whether it is having food produced, whatever it is. But I really like that passion, Gregory, and coming from your life as a citizen. But anyway, you said just now that Makay's was part of your plan. Where did Makay's come from? What?
So Makay's essentially came from making stuff at home and simply sharing it with friends who came here and sharing it with people in the office. So I make this drink and I like it, and people who come by me like it, and people in the office love it. So yeah, you just kind of like do it because it's your hobby. But I always recognize the potential for it to go commercial.
Okay.
And so when I came home, I felt that now was the time to move into commercial, move up on a commercial scale. That took a while because, I simply expanded operations in kitchen while I had support and I had things, and you could make enough for your very small market that you have, but sooner or later that became a challenge in itself, you see?
Okay, so this was always, so you were the panchagram maker at home then?
Well, yeah, I'm the kind of panchagram maker. Yeah, although we make the distinction that this ain't panchagram, so
I remember we had a discussion long time ago.
Yeah.
Away. So this was no accident. This was not you waking up on the fine day when you decided you're leaving your last job and saying, scratch my head, what am I to do? This was a very deliberate decision, and you're taking a hobby and deciding to do something with it. It was not a...
Yes, it was a very deliberate decision. I mean, that's not the only thing I run. I do my consulting business as well, because I don't believe that professionals, you know, if you're a professional of long standing, by the time you reach to this age, you have a lot of skill set that companies want. And I think it's a pity that so many of us take that skill set and put it on the shelf.
Yep.
You know, your earning power is probably at its peak then. That a lot of people just take it and put it on the shelf. I was determined that was not going to happen to me, that I would, you know, as the jobs come, I will continue to do my consulting work. But the real drive now was to grow and build Feeling Nice beverages, and in particular the signature brand of Makay's Rum Cream.
Okay. No, I want to go on to one other question, and it is so connected with that. These people put in their dreams. And what you're talking about is so core to what we consider to be the third act stage. Why we think that after your second act, which is the pinnacle of your career, and at about 50, after 50, you start thinking of what's next. There is another stage before retirement where you really can use the experience that you have and monetize those skills. And a lot of people find difficulty transitioning. Now, you were a career public servant. How difficult was that transition from employee, because you worked in the energy sector and your work there is well known, and your contribution to our body of knowledge with energy economics and so on is well known. But what was that transition like, the learning curve from being that career person to becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, you know, I think if I were to summarize that, I think you quickly begin to understand how much you don't know. Yeah, that was a very early experience, how much I don't know, because there are a lot of things now that you need to concentrate on that were not part of your remit, even at the level of senior manager that I was, even at the executive level. Some things are not part of your remit. Somebody else handles that. Somebody else handles the accounting. Somebody else handles the administrative stuff. Somebody else handles the product development. Somebody handles the customer relations. You know, somebody handles the internet. Everything. Somebody else handles it. And you kind of manage people around and so on. When you make that transition, you discover how many of these things you don't know, first of all. And secondly, the extent to which you need to put in place a particular network of skill sets that you don't have. Because you can't do it alone, you know? So I have been fortunate in many respects, because I do have some key people that support and that have supported us supported me in this regard.
Okay, and that leads to my other question, that support team, because one of the things that Jen and I realized also, I mean, Jen has a background in sales, I have it in marketing and business development. So critical is the team. So I'm taking you back to those early days when you were discovering how much you do not know. You've made this commitment to commercialize this hobby of yours and create this rum team. Who was in that support team, and where did you get them? and what was it put up?
So I think it is people who I may have encountered in the past who do have that discipline, who have the disciplines that I want. Of course, you know, initially starting at home, of course, the children was still home and it was doing production at home and so on. And so that physical help, that labor help was fine. And then, you know, once we decided to move on to a much larger scale and upscale production and so on, it meant that some things became more important. You needed to get your accounting in order. You have to file tax returns. You have to do these things. And those, I think the two most significant things for me going forward were three things, significant things. One is the whole production arrangement that we had to put in place. Two was the managing your accounting and who handles your accounting. And the third one, which is perhaps the most critical, was that whole brand management, promotion, internet marketing, nexus, which has become extremely important in terms of marketing their brand.
Great.
But all cases were people that I would have encountered, at various stages and various parts of life.
Learn to do business.
Gregory, from the start to now, looking at the skill set you needed, did you have to make any changes at all from the early group, the early team to present?
Mainly at the level of production, and as well as at the level of marketing as well. We had a couple of people who would have handled the whole brand management and so on. So but the team we have now on that has been handling that, managing that expertly for the last few years, I think. But the staff changes and the personnel changes have occurred largely at the level of the workers, the team at the factory or the team at the markets and so on. We've had a lot of changes at that level because lots of people talk about attitudinal problems with workers and talk about the commitment, low productivity, and that kind of thing. We've had some good people who have had to leave for other reasons, but we've also had some people who just did not cut it. We're thankful for them while they were there, but I'm afraid that some of them just didn't fit the bill. And so we've had to make changes as we go along.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because many of the complaints come from, the difficulty in getting the workers to really be productive, or to look, be more conscious of what they're doing and to buy into the goal of the company, so.
I think that's really very important. I mean, those that we have that have stayed with us that are very committed really share the purpose and they share and they enjoy this. I mean, we have a couple of folks with us through our last production runs and last few markets for about a year and a half now. And they were so excited to know that they contributed to winning this gold medal. They were actually working in the factory when we made that production run that went up for competition. And they've taken ownership of it and they're enjoying the success. And that's good, yeah.
Fantastic.
So coming out of corporate, and I view as someone at your level and an economist, if I may say from the outside, a little on the stiff side, not too much maybe a people's person. What do you think was your greatest skill that you brought into the business?
Well, I don't know how many people agree with your description of stiff and person. Let me tell you something, right? In the early days of Makay's, I used to be selling Makay's at the highway market. Makay highway market, farmers market?
Yes.
Well, I was on the ground there with my bottles selling, right? And indeed, there are those who passed and had to do that double take. Oh, that's Gregory. Yeah, yes, it's Gregory.
Yeah, that's what you doing there.
You're not helping out anybody. This is him in the market, right? Selling. Because, in fact, it was wonderful days. I enjoyed it tremendously. There's a grounding that you get from humbling yourself and being among people. And helps you just keep your feet on the ground. I'm no different to any farmer in the market. No, and
I congratulate you for that, because that could be very difficult, as you say, looking at the prestige or social standing, and to see that they look at you. How could you go in the market to sell? Why can't you get somebody to sell for you? You know, but yeah, in the early days, I understand that is what has to be done.
And let me tell you, you know, and we're talking transitions here. One of the important things I think people understand is that you could be whoever. When you retire, you become citizen John, right? And you've just left that title down the road. The title doesn't go with you, and people who know you may salute you, they may greet you in a particular way with the same reverence or respect. There are those who don't know you from Adam, and they don't care to know you. And so humble yourself. Really.
Terri-Ann, I know you will agree with that. You said all the time. You know, when you retire, the title do not go with you.
Yeah, just humble yourself and be quiet, and people will like you.
Yes, good. Definitely.
Gregory, that is such an important lesson. And listen, it is, I think if I could say this, it is one of the reasons that such a fundamental part of Connections 50 Plus, and we talk about our reset program. And one of the things that Jennifer and I do to help, because we meet so many professionals, you know, head of this department and head of that department, who embark on entrepreneurship. And because it's only when you retire, as you said, you realize that I was only handling a small part of this organization's business. There were other people handling other parts. And the psychological shift is so significant, you know, and as Jennifer and I decided to start following is most of our clients start with a psychological assessment.
Yes.
Essentially helps them to get to their true selves and set aside what that second act persona was, you know?
Yeah. You know, another thing just occurred to me is that so as manager of whatever, you know, manager of everything or something inside of the corporation, right? Your relationship with people, your relationship with people who buy your service is very different from when you decide to be an entrepreneur. When you have product to sell, and all of a sudden you are the same lowly salesman who used to come to the office to sell you ink or to sell you brooms. That's who you are. And you better recognize that that's who you are, because you now need to put on a sales cap and know how to speak to people and know how to convince people that your product is good. And be prepared to take no for an answer. Be prepared to be dismissed. In our case, be prepared for procurement staff to tell you, come and move your product from the shelf because it's slow moving. Where slow moving means that it's not moving as fast as the foreign brands, eh?
Yes.
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard people who is procurement assistant call me to tell me, come and move your product from the shelf. Sorry?
Mr. McGuire to tell him that.
Yes. So if I want to continue to walk around the place with the Mr. McGuire energy economist ego, I'm in trouble. Yeah. So you can't do that. You got to drop all those things. You got to drop all those things and understand that the relationship has changed, that you are selling a product and you need to put your best foot and your best face forward to sell this product, to convince the person to buy this product. And that doesn't come with your title. It doesn't.
Definitely, you know? I can relate to you, Gregory, and I can see why you and your company is very successful. Because as Terri-Ann said, starting the Connections 50 Plus, most of the clients that come to us come from a senior positions. And that sales aspect, is one huge block in their minds, because they retire with the title. They feel they're out there now, completely new, want to start a business or have started the business. But when it comes into selling, they don't want even to, Terri-Ann could attest to this, they don't even want to hear the word sales. Sales is a bad word, a negative word to them. You know, how can they, approach a client? How can they be, you mentioned, humble themselves, to get their product or service out there? And that is one of the, I would say, one of the biggest challenges for persons leaving the corporate, especially those who left at a high level, to relate to customers. And you mentioned it too. Some of them, depending on the area they go into, have to go back to the companies that they worked at, for business. And when they enter there, the new managers or the new whoever in charge there don't know them again, don't have the same respect, because the position is no longer there.
That's right.
And unless they learn to be humble and focus now on their new careers or the new business, that would always be a challenge, for us. And you need to, and we have in our reset program, that mindset is so important, so in the transition coaching, that is the first aspect. And as a transition coach, that's what I deal with, helping them to change your mindset, knowing that you are no longer there. This is what you have retired to. I love that.
Yes.
I'm going to use that because it's a fact. This is what you now retired to. And what you've retired to, this is where you are. You can give yourself, you can name yourself any position, but you have to do these are all your duties now.
Yep.
No, that is, Gregory, you couldn't say it better.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's my mantra.
You look at it, and our purpose is really to send a message to our 50+ cohorts that there's a transition period. We've gone through so many transitions while on the second act stage. Climbing that corporate ladder, building the family, getting the kids from different stages of school to university, to graduating, being a wife or a new spouse. There were so many transitions, so we know, and there's something about that. I suppose the career is the pinnacle, and everybody looks up to you, and to step away from it, as you said, nobody, you have to sit in the waiting room and wait 2 hours until somebody chooses to talk.
Yes.
Terry, it is, I recall, maybe it was about 20 years ago that St. Benedict's College called me to speak at the graduation ceremony of the 6th form. And it took me quite a while, really doodling, trying my best to put together this speech, because I didn't want to take these messages that you hear all the time, carry your candle or whatever, I just didn't want to take these messages. I had to find something unique. And then this whole concept of transitions hit me.
Oh.
Because I realized then that there are these transitions that you have to make in life. And you really have to prepare for those transitions, which is what you're saying. And there are many of them. And all parties in a particular relationship have to prepare for it. So part of the problem that you have with boys in particular, and girls as well, moving into teenage years, is that neither them nor their parents were prepared for that transition. But that's a huge transition. So too, when you get to 18, 19 and you move out of sixth form, or you just become adult because you turn 18. And one of the things that occurred to me that people are in school, children are in school at 18, 19, but they're really adult already, you know, they could vote.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in school. And so I was pointing out to them, for some of you, that must have been a very difficult thing to handle, because the law says that you're adult, but the law also says that you're a school child. How do you deal with that? And that's a very difficult stage in life. But so too is this whole business of retirement,
Yes.
which is really significant. And before I forget it, and this has nothing to do with Makay's, but when you all started, you said that that you tend to look at economic, social, and
Self-care.
self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make a comment in particular about the question of self-care. When I retired, it is one of the things that I considered very carefully. And I concluded there and then that my best health insurance is to keep my body as fit as possible, right? So I eat better now than I ever did before in my life. I do more gym work than I ever did before in my life. I run more than I ever did in my life. And it's all about my health. And I know not the moment nor the hour, but in the time between now and when that moment comes, I want to make sure that I live a high quality life. And my health is critical to that. So message to the over 60s and message to people in this, how we call it, what, G? 8G?
5.8G.
5.8G.
50 to the 80th generation.
Yes, the message to them is try your best to keep fit. You don't have to do what I do, but at the end of the day, you need to keep your body fit. If that means walking 4 times a week, do that. Because that's your best health insurance. No amount of paying surgical, sorry for calling people's name, but paying insurance companies, no amount of paying insurance companies, any money could really save you for anything. That's just managing risk. That is not taking care of your health. So we need to take care of our health.
And if you are you're physically fit and your aerobic position is what you could resist COVID. So
yes, definitely.
And Gregory, it is so important to be in good health if you want to run a business, you know, because then you just can't run a business.
Yes.
Your mental, you have to be in good the mental state, physical, you know, everything have to be all in order for you to be successful as a business person. You know, and I loved when you spoke about the teenagers and the different stages, because even with us, and that's why we say the 5.8G with connections 50 plus, we know we say the stage of stages, because you have from the 50 to 60, the 60 to 70, the 70 to 80, and each stage calls for, you know, different skills, you could say. You know, you have to be aware as you get older, you have to take even more care of your body, you know, because at some stage you may not be able to do all the things that you're accustomed doing. So we really should be aware of the different stages, and that from very early, and like what you did, start taking care of your body. You know, definitely.
So we couldn't have a better guest, Gregory, today, and you exceeded all of our expectations. But I want to really, as I said, you're the perfect poster child for successful transition, a great reset. You've had the pinnacle of corporate success, meaning, as far as I'm concerned, leaving an impact on people and the economy generally, and the companies that you've worked with, serving the public. And now, in your 5.8G third act position, you have been awarded and rewarded with your whole rum cream recipe from a long time. Your days in the market standing up amongst the lettuce and the cucumber and the karaili and all the sitting and waiting. And I know that you still are not having the distribution in retail that you should have, but it will come very soon. I hope you have the production to meet it when it comes. You've been awarded the gold medal first award. I want you to do a comparison. That second stage, second act life, the joys and the excitement, and now your third act life, where you are doing stuff for Gregory, what Gregory wants. How do you compare the two stages of life?
I'll tell you what. For me, I think as you hit different milestones at this stage, you begin to ask yourself, well, maybe I should have done this a little bit earlier. Maybe I waited too late to do this, because it's so much more fulfilling when you're working for you, when you're in your own operation and you make your own choices and you put in the work and the returns you get. It's extremely gratifying. Even the relationship you have, certainly I have with some of my support staff and some of the people who work along with me, is very different from the relationship in the office. And I'm not saying, I mean, the corporate world was great to me. I had great staff, compliments to all of them. I still work with a number of them. But now there's a different kind of relationship that you have with the people that support you here. You feel that they are with you on purpose. You see?
Okay, yes.
They're with you on purpose. They're not here because somebody else is giving them a salary. They're here because they share the purpose, they share the vision, they share the dream. And that makes you feel a little bit more, well, it fuels your desire to press on and to push on with this. Which leads me to say that, and this is a little bit off from the question, but the thought did cross my mind to tell people who are thinking about this. There are going to be times and moments when you decide, listen, I've had enough of this. This doesn't seem to make sense. Let me back up and go. And there have been moments when that has occurred to me, but you know what? From time to time, something happens that tells you, oh, hold up. There is still hope here. There is still potential here. And I always reminded of the cartoon that showed this guy who was digging a mine looking for diamond. Mm-hmm. And he gave up when just the last stroke or two more strokes would have gotten him to the diamond, and he just turned away and he walked away. You know, don't give up easily. In fact, don't give up, because your diamond might be right behind, waiting on your very next move. It's not easy, like I said. There are many hurdles, but just remember that the diamond might be right behind the next rock. You know? And if that's the diamond you want, you may want to just stay in the game a little longer.
Great.
That is a gem. That is a gem. Because, as you say, in the corporate world, you're working, and if you find that diamond, you hand it over to the owners.
Yes.
Yeah, the diamond is yours, and you continue. I think that certainly answers the key question that we have. You know, is this thing worth it? That's caring and working on, and you've taken the entrepreneurial road, and again, congratulations to you and Makay and the entire team. But I really do, I've looked at you, I've seen the whole process, but I feel so proud that you're an example of a person making a successful transition from
Yes.
corporate world, doing whatever, and many people find excuses. I don't have business background. I have no family with business. I don't have enough money. Can I ask a question that's just occurred to me? The enabling facilities in Trinidad to help you to get into production. I know it was not all done in the kitchen. So where are some of the resources that someone has an idea? I have a good tulum, I have a good sponge cake recipe, I have a good rum punch recipe. What does that 50-year-old sitting knowing that, all right, I have 10 years, or even the person who has 5 or 4 years to go, but can do something, where can they go to access help?
Terry, and I have been trying to tell the authorities that one of the big discoveries for me in doing this, and I've not seen it anywhere in these Bibles that speak about what we need to do to diversify the economy. I haven't seen it anywhere. But my experience teaches me that one of the major problems that we face is the question you're asking: how do you upscale from the kitchen to the factory? How do you do that? Because as your demand grows, you have to meet it, and to meet it, you simply physically cannot continue in the space that you're in. We've been fortunate, and we're very thankful to Kariri for helping us to bridge that gap. Kariri has been a tremendous source of support for us, both in technical terms, in refining and helping with some product development, as well as taking this idea that I had of contract manufacturing very seriously, and now expanding the facilities to support not only me, but a number of other people who are in similar and like businesses and so on. So that bridge, I like to call it, that production bridge, is something that needs to be developed and expanded in the country. Like I said, Kariri is doing it. I don't know if they would have capacity to take on how many people they could take on or whatever. I certainly don't want to reach the stage where I will call Kariri, and hear that, well, we can't do you until next year or whatever. So it is something that I think the authorities need to pay attention to. It's a critical piece of economic infrastructure that I think the state needs to invest in, both in Trinidad and Tobago. That is, put down a common shared facility so that people, what you do there is that you save people the huge capital overhead of putting down their own factory. Yeah. I benefit from it, and other people may shut up and say, well, boy, that's my trade secret, so may I want nobody else. But, that doesn't make any sense. We try to grow a country, we try to grow small businesses, and I'm saying that's a critical piece of infrastructure that's required.
Great. Thank you so much for that, because I am also a firm believer in Kariri, and I am a believer that our economy and our business is going to grow one family, one person, one idea at a time, collectively. Large companies have their place and their role to really push the top line, but the people and what we eat, what we wear, what we use, those things have to come out of our sewing rooms and kitchens and bedrooms and gardens and all that kind of stuff. But it's that capacity to expand and make that I think you've done so well, and I'm truly very proud of you. Very, very proud of you. So,
Gregory, I just one quick question before we close. Tell me, did you see the need to have a partner collaborate with anybody on this business?
I would say, of course, yes. Like I said very much earlier on, there are several aspects of running a business. There's the production, there's the administrative stuff, there's the There's the production stuff, there's sales, there's marketing, there's promotion, there's distribution, which we do on our own as well. So that there are all these people that all these functions that have to be undertaken. And as one individual, you cannot do it all. So yes, I did see the need. Like I said, I have maybe in 2 disciplines, maybe 3 disciplines, I have tremendous support. Kariri is with respect to production. I got someone who handles the wonderful work that you see for branding on the internet, as well as some of all that branding and innovation, and someone who supports me with respect to the accounting. So and keeping the books up, helping me to keep the books in order, which sometimes is a difficult task, but we're doing our best with it.
Again, congratulations, Terri-Ann. Any more questions for Gregory, or this is it with our time?
Gregory, you have some parting words. A pearl, now that we have designated you the official spokesperson for the 5.0 transitioning generation.
Well, what to say? I would want to encourage those who have a passion for something. Sometimes people sit there and they say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. Well, what is your passion? What is this skill that you had, or this thing that you love, this thing that you just feel you have an affinity to? How do you commercialize that? And just think about that. And if you believe in what you're doing, just go with it. I believe in Makay's rum cream. I think Makay's rum cream could beat the world. And indeed, we have beaten others in the world.
Yeah.
We recognize that we still have the journey is only now started. We have a long, long way to go. The sky is the limit. There's tremendous potential out there. There's a whole global market to conquer, but it takes a lot to do that. And there are many, many hurdles and many rivers to cross. But we believe in what we're doing, and with the commitment of others that are around me, I'm quite sure that we will get there. So my advice to folks is that, believe in your product, have the passion for it, and go for it, right?
Gregory, we thank you so much. Thank you so much. The research is very possible. And now, generation with all of the skills and talent built in the second act. Hey, the third act is ours. The kids are gone. The boss is gone. We are now in.
Yep, definitely.
Yes. We want to thank you so sincerely for joining us today, and we wish you all the best. We could probably have you on some other time when we develop the concept further and you get the gold medal for the other flavors, because it's just
Yeah, of course. That's coming for sure. Thank you,
the cream is coming. All kinds of things.
Yes.
Okay, bye, Gregory, and continued success to you and the business.
Sure. One thing before I go, and I know you're still recording, but we didn't even have a bottle of Makay's. I keep looking around the office.
Actually, I was wondering about that. Yes. Okay.
We can't do this without having a bottle of Makay's. So, what I can do, Terry, is I could send you some pictures. So if you want, you could just flash the pictures during the course of the evening.
Sure. Yes.
Right? I think that would satisfy. Okay, so I'll send you the pictures as soon as we log off of this. All right? Ladies,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Yes, so.
Jennifer, what a fantastic guest. I mean, today we set
Definitely
that story. And if we have anyone out there who is contemplating, what am I going to do to get onto my third act stage? They must have gotten some inspiration from Gregory McGuire. What do you think?
Definitely. I just love what remained with me is that you're retiring to. What are you retiring to? And it's definitely not to the rocking chair. You know? So I think for anybody coming off that second act stage, based from what Gregory has said, planning is important. And Terri-Ann, we always say this. Planning is important, and you put your mind in that positive mood that you're going to something. You know, it may not be business. It's so many other things that you can go to.
Yeah.
So that was a big takeaway. Anyone from 50 plus is starting what to think, what are you going to? And Terri-Ann, in our primetime reset, which of course we launched on Monday, the two-part, and which is 2 parts, and that first stage, which is the transition coaching. Before we even reach that stage, our main aspect of this program is to do an assessment, a transition assessment. And that assessment will answer that question from Gregory.
What am I built to do? What's
Yes.
mindset? Yep.
So we start with that. So I know we're on the right track with our Primetime Reset program. The other thing I found was really interesting is to know that whatever you're getting into, and especially if it may be on the business side, but I will say even if not business,
Whatever.
it's good to have someone you can chat with and discuss, you know, and I think that helps with clarifying your mind. So in my role as the coach on the team, that helps after that assessment. It will be easy for me, and it's not just for me, for the client too, to help them clarify in terms of exactly what they want to do.
Jennifer, if we remember what Holly said in that assessment review, the assessment helps her to understand herself better, and it helps us to understand her. And in that way, we were able to work out a plan that really worked for them. And Kester made the same point, that he had a series of enterprises that he was doing and going along, but because of the focus that the assessment allowed, and then the collaboration with yourself in terms of, so what do you want in your life, and how does this business fit into that life? And then working with me in terms of how are you going to structure it.
Yes.
Like we said, so much more purpose, so much more purpose and a direction. And it also came from Pat, you know?
Yes.
So really, I feel that our reset is so timely, and Gregory's story of how he moved from the pinnacle in the commanding heights of the economy, because he's one of the top energy economists, one of the main advisors to successive governments on energy policy. He prepared that he was retiring too, and decided he's going 1 year early and starting in his kitchen.
The other aspect, I mean, there were so many takeaways there, but what stand out to me again was the fact that, you see the humility. Terri-Ann, that and understanding who you are. So when you leave that second act stage,
not the job.
Right. Understanding. And I go back to the assessment. The assessment will help the clients understand their personalities. And you understanding that, you will know what you have to release. Because when you go on to the third act stage, you need to know that this is a different stage you are in. You actually, I don't want to say becoming a new person.
Yes, you are.
But you actually, yes, becoming a new person. So you're no longer, and this is especially for those who came from very high levels.
Jennifer, not just becoming a new person. You're re-encountering a person that you left 40
Yes. But you didn't have time to develop so much. Yeah.
You're re-encountering a person that you left a long time.
your focus was different. Your focus was more on the job, on the work, on the family, and all those things. The focus now is on you. This is your stage. So that humility to start over again, you need to be humble. You know, you need to be humble. And that again, that was fantastic what he said. So Terri-Ann, as Gregory spoke, I felt, if I may say so, so very proud of our program, that all the aspects that he spoke about, in my mind, I say, yes, we have it covered. This is what we're doing, you know? So I would love, our launch was on Monday. And now that, yes, Gregory has confirmed that the whole process that we have that we're putting our clients through is on a success path, if I may say so. You know?
Definitely. Those who were there before. So again, we just have about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes again. And we just want to, again, please look at this. Do you see this one? Listen to Gregory McGuire over and over again. You have the recording, play it again. Share this one out. This one is special because we in the 5.8G generation, especially in this time of pandemic, there are no post-COVID, it's pandemic. In this time of pandemic, the world is getting smaller, things are getting tighter, and we have to manage our own devices. Now more than ever, our children are not going to be able to advance as fast as we probably did. And we've got to find ways to support, supplement, build up, replace income. And we've got to get our minds reset to something. And it's one of the things that Gregory said, because you know, we may have ideas associated with work. Oh God, work. I don't want to work no more. But this is for you. This is for you. And and as we say, not everything has to be building a corporate profit making.
Yes.
You may decide to convert your skills to charitable purpose. You may decide to do something to support a child in your area or a family, or support someone through school. You may decide to contribute to your place of worship to help feeding people. There's so many. You may decide to some of your core skills, set up a little facility, and you know, because the lessons we teach you, it's not only for you to make money, it could be how you raise money to support others. So we have to, in this third act life, have much more purpose, and we've got to know you're not carrying the name tag with you. It's you. Reconnect to that person you left 40 years ago to be another person.
And Terri-Ann, one other thing, and I would say it because, again, don't let age be a barrier. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I'm too old. So long I've retired. That is for the early 50s. You know, you spoke about the stage of stages, and we talk about that all the time. We have different stages in life. And I can speak about the 60 plus, that as long you keep yourself in good health, and Gregory again spoke about self-care, as long you keep yourself in good health, it is not too late to still look at being active out there.
Yeah,
it could be an activity that you can still earn some income or just contribute, you know, out there and help others. So please don't look at an age barrier at all.
definitely not.
So we all from 50 right up plus, all welcome to be part of our prime time 5.8G reset.
Just look on Facebook for the poster. The link is right there to
Yes.
pages. Hey, let's make a difference. 5.8G. Let's get ourselves reset and get our own gold medals. Okay. So this has been wonderful. It has been
definitely Yes.
And I thank God for you and for all of our people up the Caribbean, everywhere else, the Gael family, everyone else, to be able to do this fantastic.
Yes, and I'm glad you said Caribbean, because Caribbean people, Caribbean family, you are included,
Yeah,
right? So please sign up also.
Yeah. Okay. So we will see you all next week. Is another big week, because today we talked about the economic development of ourselves. Gregory touched on self-care. We continue in the discussion. Next week is going to be another big show. So see you guys. Love you all.
Okay, bye for now and stay safe.
Bye-bye.